Hi friends, welcome back to another episode of Generation Tech. My name is Alan. Now a lot of you guys have been wondering where British Ben has been in the last year or so. Well, I'm glad to announce that he's not dead, he's still alive, and he's actually been working on one of our side projects known as Generation Snow. It's a new YouTube channel about skiing and snowboarding, and if you guys are into that, you should check it out in the right corner somewhere here. Now I know it's not the most logical choice for us to make as far as opening a new YouTube channel, but logic can't protect you from head injuries the same way a helmet does. So check it out. Now amongst their many talents and abilities, the Jedi were extremely sensitive to the feelings and emotions of the people that surrounded them. I imagine this made playing Hold'em against a Jedi very difficult. It's also what made Force sensitives such excellent detectives, peacekeepers, and interrogators. So my question today is, if the Jedi Order was full of Force sensitives who could essentially read what other people were thinking, or at least how they were feeling, how did so many of them ignore the trouble that was brewing within Anakin Skywalker? A Jedi who cannot control his emotions and develops attachments and relationships is considered a danger to the rest of the Order. The Jedi were immensely powerful beings, Anakin being one of the most powerful. If individuals like him lost control, it could end up costing the Order everything. I mean, that's really the darkest secret of the Jedi Order, isn't it? The fact that the Sith are actually just original Jedi who had fallen from the light side. Which is why the Order has so many restrictive codes and rules to prevent this from happening. Now, in the last year of the Clone Wars during the Battle of Anaxis, Anakin Skywalker enlists the help of his good friend Captain Rex. He needs to call his wifey, Senator Padme Amidala, and that's because the Outer Rim Siege has dragged on longer than expected, and a Jedi like Anakin, who technically has no wife or family, would have no reason to rotate back home. Also, he doesn't know this, but Padme's basically preggers by this point. So he has Captain Rex wingman for him and makes sure that no one barges into his barracks while he's making a call to his wife. This proves to be difficult when General Obi-Wan Kenobi comes looking for Anakin to discuss their next mission. But the clone captain is used to highly stressful situations and manages to hold off Obi-Wan Kenobi from entering the barracks until Anakin appears with some excuse about fixing Rex's helmet. But Obi-Wan of course sees right through the ruse, and he asks Anakin to say hello to Padme for him.
I hope you at least told Padme I said hello.
Now, it's never really mentioned in the movies or the novels whether Obi-Wan Kenobi knows about Padme and Anakin. But clearly, judging by Obi-Wan's reaction here, he knows that something is going on between the two. Now, he might not have known about their marriage, but they say a Padawan and Master's relationship is like the relationship between two members of the same family, so they would have a very close connection within the Force, which means Obi-Wan Kenobi probably senses something in Anakin. This is also why I've always said that Luke and Leia must have known they were related when they first hooked up, which is why Chewie, who can smell human familial ties, is so distraught when they do. Anyway, Anakin has been infatuated with Padme since he first saw her on Tatooine.
Are you an angel? What?
Are you an angel?
No.
And I'm sure he let that slip at least once while Obi-Wan Kenobi was training him. Another clear sign that Obi-Wan Kenobi knew about Padme and Anakin's relationship is in Episode 3. After Order 66, he goes to her apartment and tells her about what happened.
I have seen a security hologram of him killing younglings.
Obi-Wan's real mission is to find Anakin if necessary and kill him, but he knows that Padme is one of the few people who might actually know where he went. He even knows that Padme's unborn child is Anakin's, probably by using some kind of Force ultrasound technique.
Anakin is the father, isn't he?
So why doesn't Obi-Wan Kenobi step in and intervene or confront Anakin about this whole situation? From what we can tell, Obi-Wan Kenobi is the perfect Jedi. He follows the code and the orders of the Council closely. He even uses the defensive form of lightsaber combat, Form 3, which very much embodies the Jedi philosophy of non-aggression. But if we take a deeper look into his past, we'll see a very different Jedi. First, Kenobi's own master, Qui-Gon Jinn, was a complete renegade. He constantly pushed the limits and patience of the Jedi Order. Obi-Wan used to frequently clash with Qui-Gon when he was a Padawan, and he would even criticize his master's own discipline. As a matter of fact, right before Qui-Gon's death, Obi-Wan and his master's relationship wasn't at its best. Both Jedi were questioning themselves and their ability to serve in the Jedi Order. Nonetheless, in death, Qui-Gon Jinn's teachings did inspire Obi-Wan Kenobi to be more independent-minded. Also, as Qui-Gon lay there dying in Obi-Wan's arms, he made his Padawan promise to take care of Anakin Skywalker. Qui-Gon believed in the Chosen One prophecy, which stated that Anakin would bring balance to the Force once again. It's very likely that Obi-Wan would have kept Padme and Anakin's relationship secret, either out of loyalty for his Padawan or maybe loyalty for his master. If Anakin gets kicked out of the Jedi Order, then the Chosen One prophecy might be at risk. Lastly, Obi-Wan Kenobi understands the power of love. When he was a young man, he had fallen for the Duchess of Mandalore while on a mission. He later admitted had the Duchess asked him, he would have left the Jedi Order for her.
All right. Had you said the word, I would have left the Jedi Order.
And when she was imprisoned later by Maul, Obi-Wan went on an unsanctioned mission to rescue her against the orders of the Republic and the Jedi. Obi-Wan might have disagreed with Anakin's actions, but he clearly understood what motivated him. But it wasn't just Obi-Wan Kenobi who knew about Anakin's troubling behavior. While having emotional attachments with someone is considered quite dangerous for a Jedi, Anakin's internal rage and emotions were even more troubling. In Episode 2, after Shmi Skywalker dies in Anakin's arms, the Padawan goes on a rampage and brutally murders the entire village of Sand People. Although Anakin only tells Padme and Palpatine about this event, in the film, right after the massacre, it cuts straight to Yoda, who clearly feels a disturbance related to the massacre. We're not sure if Yoda knows exactly what has happened in this situation, but he does know it's something related to Anakin, and the young Padawan is suffering and in pain. What's more interesting is Yoda hears some voices.
Anakin! Anakin!
That, of course, is Qui-Gon Jinn, Anakin's first master and believer of the Chosen One prophecy. Now, for anyone else's voice, I would just say that this was a Force vision or some kind of dream, but it's Qui-Gon Jinn. We know that around the time of Qui-Gon Jinn's death, the Jedi Master had been working hard to become one with the Force, so that when he does die, his consciousness could continue to exist. By the 4th year of the Clone Wars, Qui-Gon Jinn is able to affect the physical world and communicate with Yoda. It's very likely that this cataclysmic event with Anakin was so powerful that it allowed Qui-Gon Jinn to once again communicate with Yoda. The knowledge that Anakin was emotionally unhinged should have raised red flags for Yoda. Remember, many members of the Jedi Council, including Yoda, were against allowing Anakin to join the Order in the first place because he was considered too old at the time. Then in the Legends novel Wild Space, it was stated that Anakin and Padme's connection to each other was not only noticed by Obi-Wan Kenobi after Padme fell off the dropship they were on, even Yoda had realized the two were romantically involved. Yoda then sends Obi-Wan Kenobi to go confront Padme and convince her to stop dating Anakin. Padme agrees to do this, but requests that Anakin escort her back to Naboo so she can have some privacy for the breakup. When they get there, they get married instead. She had lied to Obi-Wan. So if Yoda had a sense that Anakin was emotionally imbalanced and having a relationship, why didn't he try to expel Anakin from the Jedi Order? Well, for one, while the Jedi Order did frown upon having families and kids, they did make some exceptions. For instance, Master Ki-Adi-Mundi was a Syrian male, and his species had an incredibly low birth rate, and so he was allowed to have 5 wives and 7 children. Yoda might have sensed that since Anakin joined the Jedi Order at such a late age and then also lost his mother, he needed some kind of relationship to replace the ones he lost. Maybe this could balance him out. Then there was the massacre of the Tusken Raiders, which was never actually linked to Anakin Skywalker, so Yoda is hesitant to make any decisions based on something he sensed through the Force. The Jedi really disliked prophecies, visions, and dolphins because they oftentimes left out important information and didn't really show the whole picture, and sometimes they forced people to act rashly. When Anakin starts having nightmares about Padme's death, he even goes to Yoda for advice. Yoda senses that Anakin's premonitions could lead to dangerous behavior in the Darkside, and he tries to warn the Jedi Knight to let go of any attachments he has. But aside from that stern warning, Yoda does little to actually mentor Anakin, which is probably something he should have done since Qui-Gon Jinn had died and passed on Anakin to Obi-Wan Kenobi. And finally, when Obi-Wan and Yoda walk through the ruins of the Jedi Temple, Yoda warns Kenobi against looking at the security footage of the Jedi Temple massacre because he'll only find pain there. Yoda doesn't seem at all surprised when it's revealed that Anakin is the one who led the assault on the temple. Now, we made another video recently that proved that Yoda knew about Order 66 and the end of the Jedi Order, but did little to stop it. You can check out the full video here in the right corner. Yoda had a Force vision while learning how to become one with the Force. In that vision, he saw the death of many Jedi and the rise of Lord Sidious. He also saw the clones firing on the Jedi. Yoda realized that the Jedi Order was powerless to do anything because even if they had moved against the Grand Army of the Republic and the clones, they would have been labeled as basically traitors. Yoda realized that the Jedi were stuck in a no-win situation. The only way that he could now defeat the Sith was to become a Force spirit and somehow teach future generations to resist the Sith. It's very likely that Yoda also took this very hands-off approach with Anakin. He probably took his own advice and didn't let his knowledge of the future create fear within him. This might have been the right path. Had Yoda pressed Anakin, we're really unsure how he would have reacted. Anakin clearly loved Padme more than even the Jedi Order. Who's to say that Yoda's intervention would have been able to prevent his fall to the dark side? So there you have it, guys. As you can see, Palpatine seemed to have played the entire galaxy quite well, so that the Jedi, in the last moments of their existence, basically had no moves to make at all. Pretty brilliant. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button so you don't miss out on the rest of our awesome content. And as usual, thanks for joining us today. If you're watching this, you are Generation Tech.